It started with a DM. Hey, saw your profile. You'd be perfect for this. Easy money, work from home, completely your choice. And then another, and another. Look, I know what you're thinking. Oh great, another video about OnlyFans. But this isn't about OnlyFans. Not really. This is about something way more calculated, way more deliberate. This is about how an entire generation of college students is being systematically recruited into adult content creation, and it's not happening by accident. There are currently over 3 million content creators on OnlyFans. But here's the thing, OnlyFans doesn't recruit these people. They don't have to, because there's an entire ecosystem that does it for them. And it starts way earlier than you think. Let me paint you a picture. It's 2025. You're 19 years old, you're in college, and you're drowning in debt before you've even finished your first year. The average student loan debt in America is now over $37,000. Tuition has increased by 747% since 1963, while wages have barely budged. But here's what really got me. I started digging into this after a friend of mine, a professor, told me about something strange happening on campus. Students who seemed fine one semester would suddenly drop out the next, not because they were failing, but because they found another way to pay for school. So I went down a rabbit hole. And what I found was an entire machine, a pipeline designed to convert financial desperation into adult content. It works like this. First, you have the bait. Apps like Instagram, TikTok, even LinkedIn, places where young people already are. Then you have the scouts, people who slide into DMs, comment on posts, act like talent agents. Then you have the intermediaries, the agencies that promise to help you get started, manage your content, maximize your earnings, and finally, you have the platform. OnlyFans, Fansly, a dozen others. But here's the thing that really disturbed me. This isn't random. This is targeted. This is algorithmic, and it's incredibly effective. So how does someone go from posting college selfies to selling adult content? Let me show you. It starts innocently enough. You're on Instagram. You post a photo from spring break. Maybe you're in a bikini. Maybe you're just existing as a young person on the internet. Within hours, you get messages, dozens of them. You're so pretty. Have you ever thought about modeling? You could make thousands doing this. Now, most people ignore these. But remember, you're 19, you're $30,000 in debt. You just had to choose between buying textbooks and eating dinner. So maybe you respond to one. And that's when the pitch comes. They're not selling adult content, not at first. They're selling lifestyle content, exclusive photos, premium social media. They make it sound legitimate, professional, empowering even. I spoke to several women who went through this. I'm not using their names, but I am going to share what they told me. And I want you to listen carefully, because this is where the pipeline really reveals itself. He told me I could make $5,000 a month just posting photos in lingerie. My rent was $800 and I had $100 in my bank account. What was I supposed to do? It started with bikini photos. Then they said I could make more if I showed a little more. Then more. Before I knew it, I was doing things I never imagined I'd do. And I couldn't stop because I needed the money. Here's what's really insidious about this. These recruiters, and that's what they are, recruiters, they understand something fundamental about human psychology. When you're desperate, when you're scared about money, your decision-making changes. You say yes to things you might not otherwise say yes to. And these recruiters, they take a cut. Sometimes 20%, sometimes 50% of everything a creator makes. They call themselves management agencies or content coaching services. But really, they're just middlemen profiting off desperation.
Third aspect of an agency is recruitment. So again, it's a business. You need to understand that you need an influx of girls coming in. So what you do is you look on the internet for a specific a girl that will meet a requirement for us at the agency where I worked at, because it was almost immediately the biggest OnlyFans agency in Australia. We had a very specific requirement. So ours were girls that couldn't have too little of a following and they couldn't have too big of a following, because if it was too little, they would be seen as too much work. So anything from like 50,000 below, we weren't interested in. And then maybe like 2 million plus, it was like the too hard basket. And so you would have that and you'd go on TikTok, you'd go on Instagram, you'd see how many followers they had. And then the most important part is, what were they already posting? Were they already posting provocative content? Because either that would indicate that they were already on a platform like OnlyFans, or if they weren't, they're more interested in doing it. So you could probably manipulate them easier to get them to sign up to the agency and join OnlyFans.
Okay, so I wanted to understand how big this actually is. So I spent weeks talking to researchers, economists, former recruiters, and current creators. And what I learned is that this isn't just some random phenomenon. This is a multi-billion-dollar ecosystem. OnlyFans alone generated $6.6 billion in revenue last year. But for every dollar a creator makes, there's an army of people taking their cut. The recruiters, the agencies, the chatters who respond to messages for creators, the marketing services, the photographers.
$6.6 billion spent by users in 2023 alone. More than the combined salaries of the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball.
Everyone's heard of OnlyFans, but no one really knows what it is. There's a house in LA, and there's a girl named Sophie Rain, who's a Christian OnlyFans girl, and she's got a bunch of girls that literally look like they're 12 years old, and they make childlike content on TikTok to be able to promote their OnlyFans. As I hear mothers that tell me, little girls are now like, I want to be a part of I love it.
Oh my Lord. This is diabolical. It's like a feeder system. So we've had a Nala Ray who said she made $14 million. Then we had like China who said she was making like $20 million a month at her height. Is that the reality for most girls?
The reality is the average wage of an OnlyFans creator is $180 a month.
Were you there long enough to say, I know this is going to be successful? Were you able to figure that out?
Yes, the younger the better.
Sheesh. This is dark. Okay, I want to show you a couple things.
But here's what really blew my mind. I found job postings, legitimate job postings on LinkedIn and Indeed for OnlyFans recruiters and adult content talent scouts. One posting I found was specifically looking for someone to recruit on college campuses. Let's that sink in.
Tactics that we would use at the agency is again this thing of, we had an Instagram page and we would throw these lavish parties, we would have these amazing dinners, we had the cars, we had all the things. And so when we would recruit girls and outreach to girls, it was, do you want the lifestyle? It's not, do you, if I went up to a girl and was like, hey, do you want to come do porn and we'll take like 20% and OnlyFans will take 20% and you're probably not going to make that much money.
Terrible sales pitch.
No, nobody would do it.
Yeah, if you can say, hey, do you want a luxurious lifestyle? Do you want this? Do you want to be the epitome of success? Do you want to be luxurious and have the car and like all these things? Come join this sisterhood.
Yeah.
Come. And so that's kind of the allure that a lot of people have. And again, the greater culture tells us that this is a positive, this is women's empowerment. I've had people say, like, you're not a girl's girl unless you support doing OnlyFans, because
those are scary words.
And you know what the craziest part is? This is all perfectly legal. There's no regulation here, no oversight. Just capitalism doing what capitalism does, finding the most efficient way to monetize human desperation. Because here's the context we need to understand. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Minimum wage hasn't kept up with inflation. College costs have exploded. Entry-level jobs require 5 years of experience. Young people are being told to work hard and go to school while simultaneously being set up to fail economically. And into that gap, that space between you need to go to college and you can't afford to exist, that's where this pipeline operates. That's where it thrives. So let's talk about what this actually costs. Not in dollars, we already know the money. Let's talk about the human cost. My parents don't know. My friends don't know. I graduated debt-free, but I can't tell anyone how I did it. I feel like I'm living a double life. The money was good until it wasn't. The content never goes away. I deleted everything 3 years ago, but people still recognize me. I lost a job offer because someone found my old content. I wish someone had told me there was another way. I wish someone had explained what I was signing up for, not just the money part, but everything else. Here's what's hard about this story. I'm not here to judge anyone's choices. I'm really not. If you're an adult and you choose to do sex work, that's your choice, full stop. But choice requires options. And when your options are do this or drop out of school, do this or get evicted, do this or go hungry, is that really a choice? I spoke with a professor of ethics at NYU who studies coercion. She told me something that stuck with me. She said, economic coercion is still coercion. When the alternative to saying yes is genuine hardship, we have to question whether consent is truly free. And that's what this pipeline exploits. Not people's desires, not their sexuality, their desperation, their fear, their completely rational assessment that they're out of options. So here's where we are. There's an entire industry built on recruiting financially desperate young people into adult content creation. It's sophisticated, it's targeted, and it's growing. And the thing is, nobody really wants to talk about this. It makes people uncomfortable. Universities don't want to admit it's happening to their students. Parents don't want to think about it happening to their kids. And platforms like Onlyfans, they just say they're providing a service, and what people do with it isn't their responsibility. But I keep coming back to this question. What kind of society have we built where selling access to your body feels like the most rational economic choice for thousands of college students? Because that's what we're really talking about here. This isn't a story about OnlyFans or adult content or any of that. This is a story about what happens when we create a system where getting an education costs so much that young people feel like they have to do anything, and I mean anything, to avoid drowning in debt.